Good afternoon, fellow gardeners. We're going to try to answer a few questions about what to plant in the fall. We're getting these questions every day, and you know, it's kind of a loaded question because it all depends on what part of the country you're in. Now see, we're here in southern Oklahoma. It's in getting in the later part, middle of July, a little later, mid-half, second half of July, I guess. Not long to the 1st of August. So we got to get our tomato plants in if we're going to try to make tomatoes out in the garden or outside in these containers. If we don't get them in pretty quick, then we won't make any tomatoes before it comes to, if we have an early freeze or frost like we did last year in the middle of October, we won't make it. So, but if you're up north in the New England states or something, you don't even have time to grow tomatoes. You're going to have to go on and grow some greens, some lettuce and spinach and so forth. So it depends on what part of the country you're in. Now, if you're down in, you know, El Paso or Florida or something like that, you can probably wait a while and still put out your tomatoes and grow tomatoes all winter. But anyway, we're going to talk about southern Oklahoma. It's time for us to get some tomato plants out. And guess what? I just happen to have some tomato plants sitting here. And this is an early girl variety. And we like to use that early girl because it'll make in about 54 days. Whereas if you take something other that's a long day tomato, you know, it may be up to 80, 85, then you're pushing yourself too far into the fall. So we like to use these early girls or early dials or something like that. Now, how many would I put in this tub? You know, if you're going to grow with it in a cage or tied up, you know, tied up as a bush, then one plant is all you could plant in that tub. Is just one plant. And we'd put that right there in the middle. And we'd water it in, and then we would, you know, water it in good, and then put our water in here and fertilizer for our wicking system. If you was going to set this up on a barrel and let it hang over, then we'd plant 4 of them. We'd put 1, 2, 3, 4. And put 4 in there and let them hang over the sides and grow your plants. So it depends on how many you're going to grow, how you're going to tie it up. You could do peppers the same way, 1 pepper in the middle, or do 4 peppers on the sides. Your lettuce, you know, you can probably put, now that'd be later on in the fall when it cools off, but we're going to have to put, we'll put about 8 or 10 lettuce in here and put, you know, around the outside about 7 and put about 3 in the middle, and that would make you 10 lettuce in there in that tub. You grow it in a cool, and even the spinach and all just like that also. Now the spinach, you can't start it yet because the only way it'll propagate is whenever it's cooler. It won't germinate, it won't germinate in hot weather. So, well, you might try some of them in the house where it's air conditioned, you know, soak them overnight and then sow them and see if they'll germinate in the house under a grow light or something. Where it's cooler, the season is cooler, you're going to grow spinach, lettuce, Swiss chard, broccoli, cauliflower, radishes, green onions, and stuff like that. Most of your greens, collards. It's a wonderful time to grow them here in southern Oklahoma in our high tunnels. In the winter, we don't like to sow them until get down into November. And then you can sow that different kinds of greens like that. And I want you to know the bugs don't bother you then. In the wintertime, you know, out here in the summertime or in the fall, all those millers and butterflies are laying so many eggs, making little worms, that they'll just eat your crop up. But you wait into the cool weather and get kind of a first freeze or something on, and then the bug's not going to bother you all winter. So we love growing in the wintertime for our greens and all. Now the tomato situation, it's according to what part of the country you're in. If you're in the northern part of the United States, the sun is going to be so far to the south that you really can't grow tomatoes this winter, I don't think, without some lighting or something. You'd have to check within your local area to see what the growers are doing. But if you're in somewhere in Texas or Louisiana or down through Alabama and Florida and Texas and down in New Mexico, then you can probably grow you some tomatoes inside of a high tunnel. If you're in one of those areas that doesn't freeze a lot this winter. Now, stating that, I would say you need to use a determinate tomato. This early girl, if you're going to grow outside and get through before winter, you'd use a determinate. But if this is a high tunnel that you're going to use, and you're going to try to grow this through the winter, get you an indeterminate variety to put in there and let it grow all winter long on into the spring. I know a variety called Big Dina is one that they grow, and also the variety is called Trust, that T-R-U-S-T. That's another variety that you can grow inside in the wintertime if you're where you can get enough sunlight to help you grow tomatoes through the winter. But if you're up north of here, I wouldn't recommend it at all. South of here, you might try it and experiment with it a little bit. I'm going to add another little tidbit in here. We're going to talk about grasshoppers. This year we've got lots of grasshoppers here in southern Oklahoma. They are literally nearly eating us up. I'm going to tell you how to kill those grasshoppers without spraying your plant. What you do, get you a pound of a pound of sevin dust, and 20 pounds of bran, like you feed the cattle or something. You go to a feed store and get that, a bran. Or if you're going to get just a little, you got a little bit you want to make, get you a little sevin dust, go buy you a box of bran flakes, and you mix 1 pound of sevin dust to 20 pounds of bran. So that's 1 to 20. You mix those together dry, and then you take some molasses and start making that into a little ball about the size of a quarter. You make those little balls. Use rubber gloves now, because you don't want to handle that sevin dust, because it's pretty potent. And you make them little balls and you lay them around where the grasshoppers can eat on them, and that will kill them. Now, the things you got to do, if you've got animals, you need to protect that. Put them under a box that's got, slits in it or something, they can get in there to it to eat it. And let the grasshoppers get in there and let the mice get in there and eat it. But your pets, you don't want them to touch it. So keep it away from them. So I'm just telling you, use your own judgment how to place it where your animals can't get to it. But anyway, the sevin dust and the bran and the molasses will get you a good ball that you can put out there the grasshoppers eat on. Lay them ever so often. You don't have to put them real close, but the grasshoppers are going to mingle over to them and eat some of that, because that molasses smells good and they like that bran flakes. All right, if you like this video, punch the button, ring the bell, and subscribe, and we'll make you another video. Thank you and have a good day.